This is a nice way to have this.
Oops.
My lieutenant's in here. Marquise, oh, he doesn't want to be here. He's a great guy.
Is Officer Lynch coming, or?
Oh, he's in the hospital.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry to hear that.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah, for something work-related, too.
Yeah.
Hi, Caitlin.
Yeah, the Sam told me.
Yeah, you did good, man.
That it did.
Thank
I
you.
don't know how we got the scratch. Infection in his blood. Probably an infection. Yeah, yeah.
Those are both ours.
Apologize for being late.
Hey, no worries. Let's get started. All right, we'll get started. So thank you for handing these out. So basically what I wanted to start with, and maybe that's what we've got right here, are the concerns we have with the scheduling of the AB schedule versus the full squad, and the WEX cards or gas cards. And then I had on here to discuss a salary proposal, and then anything else that we want to discuss. So
Okay.
you want to start with what
Well,
you've
really, I
just given
didn't
us?
give anything for the calendar and schedule, because I thought we could just have an open discussion
Okay.
about it. So I know that we did a survey, and 2/3 prefer the old way, and my understanding is that the old schedule was in place for, over a decade, and then this new AB squad type schedule came into place, because of COVID.
There's a temporary agreement between
Right.
us, yeah.
And there's no waiver in the contract, so we need to discuss the schedule before it goes out. And I don't know if it was being held because of that survey or what. So a lot of officers, we did a survey of our own, and 2/3 prefer the old way and 1/3 prefers the AB. So I know that a lot have probably scheduled their vacations because of the AB. So I don't know if we can just focus on 2023, if that would be a good compromise and resolution, but that's kind of where we are.
The June one has already been decided, right?
Yeah, that was that was this current school year,
Right.
June.
So how many people responded to the survey?
It was in the upper 30s, so.
All right, so I did meet with the team and discuss this, and, I really don't know, and I couldn't confirm, maybe you can, of when the AB squad started.
I can tell you, it started prior to COVID. It started when we started hiring significant personnel, and that was at the beginning of Chief Kitzero's term. So that was right around 2018.
Right,
So
okay,
it was probably initiated in the summer of 19.
okay. So that's what I got, that it wasn't just because of COVID. And really that every instructional program needs to have an officer on campus. We know that.
The summer of
Last-
the summer of 19 was when COVID started, correct?
No, 2020, March
I
2020.
went home March 20th.
So I know we're still finalizing the summer instructional programs. We expect, right now, it looks like I was told that about 50 different sites, where last year we had over 100. And, one of the concerns was also that, we do have officers making stops at summer programs, camps, things like that. And the AB squads really do ensure that we could provide coverage and also allow us to use the officers' time more efficiently and effectively when it's scheduled AB. All officers on one schedule will result in increase in overtime. Being that we're talking about the 23 calendar, school calendar year, it would probably be in the month of June, right? Next June. In our opinion, this would increase overtime, and we should be approaching overtime as a last resort, not a normal, regular option as, this is how we operate. But if there are ways to use flexible work schedules or something like that to increase the efficiency of our operations, we should be doing that. And that's our stance on why we feel we need to keep the AB schedule. It does reduce costs. And when we reduce costs, one thing that we know that everybody is hoping for, but the way everything costs more, gas, our insurance, everything right now, all costs are going up. The less we have to spend on just our operations, well, that leaves a bigger chunk of money behind for us to consider in salary increases, other initiatives, or anything like that. So the reason, the AB schedule, in our opinion, it allows us to be more efficient and use our officers' time more effectively.
I have a question. I'm looking at the schedule right now. There was approved July 18, 2018 is the 2018-2019 school police calendar, and it doesn't have June or normal June. So sometime after that is when this was changed. And it was, like I said, it was changed on a verbal agreement between PBA and the school district that it would only be temporary for 1 year.
Yeah, and if I may interject, I'm sorry. The idea of the AB actually was my idea for the COVID. I had a one-on-one with Chief Kitzrow because of the fact that he was fretting over how to cover people, and I just told him about how in New York we used to do our vacation selections, and I went through it with him and gave him basically an overview of how to conduct it. And it was at a time when we were working effectively together, and he kept using the word, we need to be flexible, and we were flexible with him in that regard. So I do remember definitively remembering that because I must say it was my idea to do that.
I'm not really here to argue about when it started because I couldn't, I know, I just couldn't get nobody. I think everybody's timeline is a little thrown off with the pandemic, right? I'm trying to think like, wait, when was that? Was that before? It's all a blur.
I agree with you.
I just do believe, though, that, from what we talked about, it is an increase in our overtime, and that is something that we really feel if we can reduce it, and that means by some flexible work schedules, then why wouldn't we do that?
Okay, well, we came with the mindset that, 2/3 voted that they prefer the old way, and we were coming to, I don't want to change the 2022 summer schedule because some members have contacted me and said they did make their plans, so I don't want to mess anyone up, but the majority does prefer the old way, so I don't know if we can just talk about June 2023, but that's what I'm hearing from what our membership wants, so.
But if you change July 2022 now, you're going to be changing.
So maybe we need to
affect the following
caucus
school year.
about this, or?
It'll affect the following school year, Joe.
No, it won't have any effect on July 2022 because what essentially happens is we work 200 days a year, 1,600 hours. The amount of hours that are left over are always in June. Just from me doing these schedules for years. I caught an error many, many years ago under Chief Kelly, so I'm very well versed in this. We work 1,600 hours a year, and as you keep going on from July, August, September, and you end up back in June, there's X amount of hours left over, and that's what we work. And I bet you, I didn't look at it, it's probably like around 72 hours or something like that. I would assume that we're working. So it really will not have an effect. You would still have warm bodies for whatever the hours are on there I don't make, 64, 64 hours. So, yeah, there's eight tours here. Let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you would have right here, it's split into 2 squads of A and B where it's, these are 8-hour workdays, so it's 64 hours. So whatever our school police manpower is in our bargaining unit, we'd have each warm body for 64 hours in the month of June.
Whereas right now, I think we're at, what, 80?
No, we're still at 64 hours for July of, June of 2023. Like at the bottom in the middle indicates
Number of work hours.
the number of work hours. That's why, for example, it'll say 64 because,
This is just the
Yeah.
proposed calendar that you all issued.
again, that's what happens in June is whatever hours are left over under the 1,600 hours is what we work in June.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So what he's saying is roughly right.
okay. Sure.
You're saying it wouldn't have
Do we plan on having a lot of summer schools open this year?
From what I hear right now, it was approximately 50. So,
And I don't believe it'd be an overtime rate. I believe it'd be a non-contract rate, the salaries.
that's correct. There is a concern, though, that if nobody agrees to, then someone would have to be ordered in, which would then be the overtime rate.
Well, we're just trying to focus on June 2023, and we would, of course, come back to discuss the next one, so.
And just upon looking at it myself, the additional cost onto the school district would be 4 more tours of duty based on the, actually be the non-contract rate, not an overtime rate.
Right, but one of the concerns was if someone doesn't agree to come in for that, am I correct in saying that someone would have to be ordered in, and when they're ordered in, they're paid 1.5 times the rate?
That's correct. But I mean, I've been here 20 years, and it's never happened that we weren't able to cover summer schools on, during the time off. It's always been, there's always officers that need money, that aren't going on vacation, that are willing to work. And I believe the teachers are getting extra pay to work summer schools also. You have the teachers getting extra pay, which it would be 1 officer per school, and you'd have probably about more than 1 teacher per school, obviously, teaching summer school. So the cost of, the
I'm
cost
not sure how that compares to, that's an additional assignment, right?
teachers, what, under the teachers or us?
The teachers, it's additional, their duty days are done.
Correct. And our duty days would have been done too, during some of those days.
Right, but our thought on that is that with the AB schedule, we wouldn't need as many of those non-contract days.
No. Correct, but, you're not looking to change anybody else's schedules to cover your summer schools. You're only looking, the smallest bargaining unit team in the district is the school police.
I could explain the difference if you have it in front of you, the schedule,
Yep.
what it would effectively mean.
Or the 20,
June 2023.
okay, I don't
Okay.
have that.
Oh, you don't have it? I'm sorry. Okay. The way that it reads now, it's in Squad A and B, and to simplify things, the last day that the officers would work is June 20th, okay? So that's 64 hours of Squad A, which means 8 tours of duty. Squad B, 64 hours, 8 tours of duty. So if everyone collectively worked together, as they did in previous years, we would work the 1st, the 2nd, right, that's Thursday, Friday. Then we would work the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. That's 6 days. Then we work the 12th and the 13th. So everyone would be off from the 14th of June, right? Whereas now they're all off as the 21st of June. So it would be 3 tours of duty, 4 tours of duty. If you have it in front of you, it's kind of easy. I don't know, do you have it or not? I'm sorry. Okay. If you want, I could show you.
I'm pulling up what I
Oh, okay.
had sent. So, all right, with that, what we'd be looking at though then is, summer school would definitely be in session during all of those days, right?
I don't have with me what
Most
summer school this year
likely.
begins like June 6th, if I'm not mistaken. I apologize, so we could
It
use that
goes-
as a
It goes
reference.
through like the first week of July.
July. So therefore, yes. Again, it would end on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The last day of people working, if we did it quote-unquote the old way, would be June 13th, okay? And now it's split into 2 squads, where now Squad B only would be working, and on their last day of the, last tour duty would be June 20th. I hope that kind of simplifies it with it in front of you. I could say it again if you want me to show.
No, I actually have it now. Thank you.
Again, you just count 8 of those work days. And if everyone was, like years ago, off, you could just count 8. Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's 6 days. Monday, Tuesday, and they would all be done on the 13th. Everybody.
Right, so it would increase the number. Right?
We have it, I think.
You have the calendar?
Yes.
2018, 2019?
Oh, no. I'm sorry, I thought you meant the current one that we're talking about.
What it used to be.
You want to see real quick, the old way?
No, I'm not really disputing that there used to be a different way, right? That's not the issue. We do have an increased number of sites than what we used to have as well.
How many more?
I think we used to run maybe like 30 sites, something like that. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure exact, but it sounds about right. And, now, from what I understand, we're looking at least 50, and last year there was over 100.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that there's really much flexibility that we have with it.
Okay, well, we'll have to talk then and see, because that's what the membership wanted, so.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, the next thing that I thought maybe we could discuss is the WEX cards or gas cards.
Right, so I just threw something in our proposals, but I'm sure you guys have something in mind, but I just was hearing complaints that you guys are taking away most of everyone's credit cards, which I don't know if that's true or not, so I guess you could, just tell us.
Yes. So what I was told is the gas cards expired. I keep calling them gas cards because I don't really know what WEX means, but I'm guessing that's the company. So the cards expired and they were not reissued, and for some good reasons, and along the same reasons that I was mentioning with the attempt to reduce the amount of overtime. It does cost more to use these gas cards than it does to go to a district pump, right? And if, first off, there are other staff members who have company vehicles who do not have gas cards. They're required to go to the district pumps and fill up. The police vehicle, the take-home vehicle, that is not an employee right. It is something that I feel is a benefit to an employee that you have a vehicle. So using the cards for the district, rather than using the pumps would definitely cost less. The fuel costs more at non-district pumps for sure. It takes a lot of time to process and chase down receipts. Over in the last billing statement alone was 70 pages of bills of expenses to go through, validate, and process, which took approximately 15 hours of time. And for that 15 hours, the salary equivalent was $700. So that is part of the reason why, they expired and we weren't, really looking at extending it, but to really push the employees to go to the district pumps to fill their vehicles up there.
Does command staff have the cards still, or everyone is having to go to the district pumps?
I can't speak to everyone. I
You
don't-
don't know. Yeah, I'm not aware of that. I know that there will be some cards, and I was told that if you travel out of county, or if there's a specific need for one, you can request it. So I'm really not sure if there's anybody who still has one. I was told that they all expired. But I'm sure there will be some coming back, and they will have that, because sometimes it might be needed. But overall, it was just so much to process internally that it was, you know, on top of it costing more money to go to a pump out, Sunoco or whatever down the street, then the time it takes to process all the receipts, chase them down because some people weren't turning them in, apparently, and, the amount of time it takes for that, it's just, 15 hours in a week of someone's salary, or in a month, I guess it would be, of someone's salary, it's $700 additional on top of whatever else the gas, the increased cost of gas.
Okay. We proposed something in Article 17, so I proposed that if you have to fuel, it's done in your off-duty time, and then you're either allowed a card, or if you're not, you're not. If you don't pass a district, I said for employees assigned to fueling facilities, all those employees who do pass a district-owned fueling facility during their daily work travel must use that pump to fill their gas. And then I thought we could define it in some way if what is defined as if you pump the fueling facility or not on your way, on your commute. So I put, if it's more than 1 mile out of your way, then that would mean that you don't pass it. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit more, like you said, or we could put something about, you're allowed a gas card if you live out of county, things like that. Because otherwise, I think a lot of other agencies do allow you time to pump when you're on duty. So you're either relieved and you can go pump, because if it's out of your way, then I don't know where these fueling stations are, so.
I'll ask this question, actually, I'm diverted, Alex, I don't live in the county, but I've heard that, like, the guys in Wellington, that they have to drive here to West Palm to gas up. I'm just using that as an example, you would know better than I.
Yeah, there's, we have the central compound, and then we have the east compound. So anybody that works out west and lives out west, there's no compound for them to gas up. But it's not even, it's a little bit, all right, we have guys that are on call-out lists at night. I'm one of them. We have a bunch of other guys. We answer alarms in the middle of the night. I can tell you personally, Saturday, I went to the pumps, 11 o'clock at night after a call, turned the pump on, no gas comes out. So what do? You're running low on fuel, and you're in the middle of the night. On the weekends, those pumps get shut down. Have you ever tried, anybody ever tried it? The pumps don't work on the weekends. There's something, I don't know if they're shutting them off, and in the mornings, if you get there early in the morning, you're gonna wait like 20 minutes to pump your car with gas. Chief, the pumps in the morning, how slow they are, machines are cold. Have you ever hit one of them?
I haven't had.
I spoke to Scopolitis, he's aware of it. He says it's happened to him also. Those pumps run really, really slow in the morning. And they're all brand new pumps, so I don't know what happened with it. But that's the only gas pumps we have available to us on the weekends and during off hours is the central compound. So anywhere else in the county that you're working, you have to drive all the way to central compound to fuel up. So if you're working out in Boca and you need gas, you're gonna have to drive, 20, 40 miles round trip to save a couple of cents on not using the card?
And then it's affecting your time.
Yeah. So I understand there's a need for some of it, for some people to have it, and that's what I believe should happen. Does everybody need a gas card? Probably not, and I don't think everybody should have a gas card. But the groups that really do need it should be given the gas cards. I had a gas card with this agency for over 10 years and never had an issue with it. So if you have one person abusing it or doing it wrong, don't punish the class. Handle the problem. And if you work out west and the pump doesn't work out there, what do you do?
You only have the 2 stations.
There's only one pump out in the west, in the Glades. And if that doesn't work, and you don't have enough gas to get in,
Stuck on the 20-mile
walking.
Right.
Has to be a better.
I understand what you're saying about the, don't punish the rest, but I really will say that that wasn't the intent, to punish. It really wasn't. Right from the start, when this was brought up, I met with school police and we discussed it, and it was really just that it was such an administrative burden, and also at that time, gas was, reaching over $5 a gallon, and it was alarming.
But I just think we still need better communication, because the first time I heard about this problem was from the membership. So if you guys are planning to cancel everyone's cards, we should be told, because even, you say it's not a right, but it affects their time. So because they either have to drive way out of their county to get gas, or they should be allowed to go on duty. So, we're not trying to be unreasonable, and I just think that, there needs to be something laid out for who gets one and who doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think a mile probably wouldn't change much of anything, really, right?
Yeah, and that's fine. This is just my first proposal, but if you're just blanket saying that no one gets one, then that's not, I don't think that'll work.
Yeah, that's being unreasonable. We just were seeking a reasonable accommodation for those that are adversely affected. If someone is in a school, I'm not arguing the fact, and they're a very close proximity to the gas pumps, I'm not going to argue for them to get one. But if it's someone like I just expressed, that have to come in from Wellington into West Palm Beach to get gas on their own time, what I told them, to be honest with you, I said, either give the car back or let it run out of gas and tell them pick it up, because I think it's totally disrespectful. I really do. And I think it'd be very unreasonable for the school district not to come to some reasonable accommodation.
What do other agencies do? I'm just
They're
curious.
allowed to fuel on their time, work time, if they have to fuel at the agency, but a lot of places do, they give them gas cards.
That was a reason why the department went to giving everybody a gas card, because we were having to relieve officers at schools, or they had to leave their schools to go to the gas pumps to get gas. So it was actually the department's idea to when they were running low on manpower, so we don't have to have officers leave school for a half hour, 40 minutes just to get gas. And they came up with these gas cards, and they had us use those.
Are there just the 3 fueling stations? Is that
You
all
have-
there are?
No, I think there are more than
You
that.
have one in the north, you have 2 in central, you have 1 in the south, and 1 in the west. So that's 5. The west pumps go down from time to time, and those guys out there, if they don't have a gas card, they're stranded if those pumps are down. The central,
And it's
you
really
have
like,
2.
it's a safety issue too. So, I just think we should have something set forth, a handful of them, or, the ones who meet the requirements should be allowed a gas card, and then everyone else, you should let them have time on duty to go get their gas. Or if it's on the way, if we do set up, some kind of mileage range, then it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem for them to go there to get their gas.
Actually, as I think of it, I'll use the word only people who are really affected by this are the school-based officers, where the other people, like the supervisors and the detectives, they're mobile, they're driving around. They could spend 5 minutes and go to a
And
gas
I'm
pump.
sure they either have a card or they're allowed to go on duty to
Yeah.
get their gas, so.
We're
Okay.
just trying to come up with solutions.
No, I understand. I appreciate it.
And it is unique here because, it's not like, you have your PD and you have it's easier to just go and fuel, but you guys are spread out, so.
Right. It would be nice if we had some more pumps. That would help a lot, I know. But if you don't mind, I'd like to caucus for a few minutes.
Okay.
Fine.
Option of the WEX cards to all on-call officers only. And then any vehicles assigned to non-on-call officers can either remain on campus if they don't want to use it, or or continue as is, if they agree to use the district pumps off-duty.
I don't think that's acceptable.
that's
I have a hard time, I bet most or all of command staff has a gas card. So, I think that everyone out of county or in a certain mileage range should have a gas card, or we should come up with some kind of radius
Yeah, when you,
for the facilities. I don't even know exactly where these facilities are, but he's saying that someone in Wellington or, somewhere else has to drive to West Palm just to get gas.
yeah,
That's even, far
you
away
have to
from
drive
their
to West
school
Palm,
and their home.
or you have to drive all the way to get to the Glades, because the one at Crestwood, no longer. They used to have pumps at Crestwood there, those portable ones. They don't have those anymore. ITV, whatever, IDTV.
Boynton?
And Boyne got rid of those pumps. So you have one in the south, right in the south area, which is.
Or there needs to be a procedure for them to go on their on-duty time to fill up if they're out of the way.
Yeah, and when you use the word all, only and all, then you kind of bumped out the detectives who get called out from time to time too. If there's a call in the middle, that you need a detective, you got to call out a detective. What about the canine units that are constantly on the road getting called out, other agencies or training, then you have, there's a lot of people you're excluding when you say just, only call out guys,
Okay.
So it's a little bit broader than that, but.
And then another example, like for example, if you live, I'll use the word up north, and you do not work south of Palm Beach Gardens, Lake Park, there's no gas pump. So like for example, I'm lucky because on my way home I'm going to gas up, but otherwise, like I live up north, I work at Jupiter High School, there's no pump, and what I used to do is go after work from my Jupiter High School to the pumps in Riviera, and by the time I'd return back to work at detail afterwards, that was 40 minutes round trip, so there has to be a reasonable accommodation to that.
Yeah, I hear you, I understand you, I hear your concerns. A couple things, I want to, make sure it's clear, this is a benefit, right, to have a car.
Which most agencies have, and they give them on-duty time to go fill up, and it affects their time. They have to use these cars that have to have gas to do their job duties, so they have to be
But
filled up
most
at some
agencies are
point.
probably patrolling more, right?
They have to use the cars to perform their work functions, and they have to be fueled up at some point or another. So either way, they should be, given their on-duty time to fill them up, if you're not gonna give them a gas card. Either way, even if you don't take it home.
Yeah, one of the things that we did talk about was, the issue with the gas and the amount of gas that's used. Most of the driving is done for commuting, not for their actual duties. That's another piece of it. It's just a little more complicated, and we're here trying to negotiate through this. We're talking through it, but
Right, and you're saying you're not open at all to like a radius procedure or way to.
I'm not saying we're not open to that. I'm saying that this was a thought that we had. It is another option. Even
Right,
leaving
leave
the
your
car
cars
on
on
campus is also probably a deterrent for anybody to do anything, at a school campus, to have the presence of a vehicle. So there's a lot of different things to consider, I think.
And I think one thing we do have to consider for people watching this is the way that it's coming across right now, okay? Let's be honest here, we can't keep people here. We just lost 5 people since right at the beginning of April. You're gonna be hemorrhaging in June. This is telling our officers right now, who were told, you come here, you're gonna get a car, right? That's what they were told by the people no longer in charge, which they were lied to, that now you have a car, but you gotta go take it on your own time to gas up. What I'm telling them, I'll be honest, is let the car run out of gas. Leave it there. Because this is telling me that my employer doesn't give a crap about me and my officers. I'm sorry, now I'm getting upset. I apologize about that. That is what this is. This is a total, basically, to the police is UNGATS. That's what this is.
I just think it is a safety issue, and, you know, I wasn't told until after the fact that these cards wouldn't be reissued. So, I mean, I'm giving ideas. I'm saying if you're out of the county, if you're on call, we could do like a radius range. I'm trying to be reasonable, but to just come back in and say, you could just leave your car on campus, I don't think that's, you know, that's not enough, so.
Okay, but by no means is this something trying to insult the officers or get officers to leave, okay?
But that's what it's going to
I
come
mean,
across
I'm
as.
just saying, well, this really is, you know, a change was made because there's a significant cost, as you could see. I think I made that clear, that there is a significant increase in cost by having to go have everyone having these cards and going to these, you know, gas stations that are not district operated, right? There's a cost with it. There's also administrative cost of managing all the receipts, making sure that, you know, they get the receipts. If they don't get the receipt, having somebody sign that this was what they did, that takes up a lot of time. So we're looking for ways to reduce some costs here and free up some time. And, you know, it wasn't as though I think the department wasn't willing to sort of, you know, bend a little bit, but they weren't willing to leave it as is.
Well, do you want to come up with some sort of a process to give them that time on duty to go to the district-owned facilities? Because you still have the problem of someone, you know, living X and working Y and having to go to Z on their off-duty time to get gas.
Very simple answer to it from a management perspective, which I was, is that you have mobile units out there. You have supervisors, now we have mobile patrol units. Is that if the officer needs gas, to reach out one of them to cover his school while he or she runs and get gas and come back. That's very simple.
And then not have a WEX card.
Correct, yeah. Go to
the
gas pump, I
facility.
apologize.
Right.
To be able to get relief, go down there, get some gas, and come back. That would address all these issues, unless there is a day when a lot of people are not in. You know, the chief would know the manpower better than us now. We're getting the sheriffs coming over and additional monies being given to Jupiter and West Palm, so that we're going to be covering less and less schools. So I would safely assume that there is some warm bodies out there that an officer is getting close to empty on gas, that they get provided the opportunity to go gas to the district pump on job time. It's a very simple
I have a
remedy.
question. Is it possible for the district to negotiate with the county? Because they have their own pumps too throughout. Maybe they can negotiate to use their pumps and, you know, pay them.
That did come up in our discussion.
Not that I was listening.
I don't know the process to go about doing that, but you know, that would be nice. I think that then I think one thing that came up was then we would have to also allow the use of our pumps, right? I think that was one of the items, but I don't know. I'm not familiar. I can follow up with school police though and find out, you know, how other agencies, you know, like PBSO handles that, right? I think they can go anywhere.
I don't know if they can go anywhere, but I know they have fueling facilities like in the north by Beeline Highway. I remember they had one out there, and I don't know what other ones they have. They obviously have one at Gun Club. You know, I know that personally that our pumps are taken down a lot. You know, not a lot, but from time to time. And even during the holidays, like the Easter break, they were off. They shut them down. Christmas break, they shut them down. We used to have to, department used to have to get special permission to have one pump on in central compound during the breaks. So the call-out units and everybody can go get gas. But, you know, one pump in the whole county, and if that goes down, you're done. So
Maybe we can see exactly where your pumps are, and then maybe do like a list of you get coverage at X time to go, and then you can, see which pumps are actually closest to the different schools, and then there's actually like a process, and that would be an idea.
I have the answer to PBS. So county fuel sites and some have credit cards.
Okay. Right. I think we could come back, bring it back to the department to see what, I like some of the things that you have in here about it, with having
And
it
this is,
maybe.
this is no way, our end-all be-all. This is just something I put in as a first proposal,
Right.
because we are flexible, and I want to come up with a solution, so.
Right. I do not, I would not, say that we would put it in the bargaining agreement, though. It's in a general order, and we would keep it in there.
That's fine, and if we could just reference that, but I don't even, if you could send me what's in effect right now, because I don't know if I have the most recent
The
one.
general order or the?
Yeah, the general order, on fueling.
I don't know if it's been changed, though, since the card's expired.
Okay, if you could just send me whatever, you have, so I could just look at it.
Yeah, just to be reasonable too, just another idea. You have Royal Palm Beach High School, you have Crestwood Middle School. They're in an area like really center of the county. And when those guys run out of fuel or they're running low, they have to go all the way to the central compound to get gas. That's a round trip, that's a 15 miles, 18 miles round trip maybe? To save, what are you saving? If they have this gas station's right by the school, where, all right, so if you pay 10 cents more a gallon, you're still saving a lot of money by not having them come all the way to the central compound to gas up and go back, especially if there's traffic. So it doesn't make sense. I get it. The card's expired. We got new cards, but for them to just say, okay, nobody's gotten a card, it's you saying it's not punishment. Sounds like it is.
Did anybody get a new card that you're aware of?
I'm aware of there's certain people in command that have
You didn't.
cards. I didn't get one.
No, I haven't heard of
I
the
did not
I
officers.
either.
believe the K-9 guy got one, rightfully so. But all the lower level guys, we all got punished. And it's not a punishment, okay? It's not, but
It's a morale issue.
the night guys don't have gas cards. The call-out guys, none of them do, except for one. He's a K-9 guy also, so he probably has a gas card. But like I said, we've had the gas cards now here for years. We used to be, it used to be a Chevron card, then they went to Chevron Texaco. Never had a problem with it. So it's just recently, might be that we have too many officers. We hired so many, but there was always a way to regulate it and fix it. If somebody was doing it wrong.
Is it a processing problem, or you're
Yeah.
just saying, and because of gas prices rising?
Well, it's both.
Well,
So I think that one of the things that, if we were able to, find some sort of, middle ground here, we've already, they've already talked, I've spoken with them yesterday about, being able to check one out for sure if you're going out of county or anything like that. But then, a review of, the driving distance where sometimes it just might not make sense to, drive 20 miles or whatever, 10, specifically with, I guess, the Glades and stuff like that, or in Royal Palm Beach, to get gas, and, there might be some flexibility there. But I think to do that, we would have to, from what I received was that it takes a lot of time to chase down some receipts. And I get that, because I'd probably be the first one to be forgetting it, to submit a receipt. I'd probably put it in my pocket, or I'd lose it, or who knows, right? It might not be the first thing on my mind, but that is one of the issues that's taking up a lot of time. And, 70 pages of processing, expenditures for a month is a lot, especially if then on top of it, you have to go try to find, receipts or something like that. So I think that, any compromise we're willing to go on this would have to also be accompanied by some stronger, procedures that really do need to be followed, so that you tighten it up a little bit.
And And I agree, I agree,
So-
we agree.
I think,
So,
yeah, we all agree. I remember years ago, they used to make you write a memo every time you needed to get gas, and submit a memo with your receipt to Pat Hyatt. She was the chief secretary, and that discouraged a lot of people from getting gas. Listen, if you issue to everybody, and you find out that the guy works at Palm Springs Middle and right by the gas pumps, and he's gassing up every day at Cumberland instead, that's a problem, and you address the
And
problem.
that is that is an instance that has been not specifically that school, but, you know, that it is, that some of the stations are close
Well,
to our pumps.
And that's
yeah, and
a
we
command problem,
totally
you know?
understand that, so
That's a supervisor.
maybe we could get, you know, the list of all the schools, and then maybe I could find out exactly where the pump stations are, and then we can
Yeah.
kind of figure out a process.
Okay. I think we can do that.
Okay, good. And then, so, we'll probably have to talk more about the calendar issue as well. So, I don't know if you want to just, I took out the bereavement requests, but most of these proposals are the same on our end. And I know last time verbally it was said 1.5 for wages, so I don't know if I kept the 5% in mind. And then for the sergeant's
Oh,
article.
wait, I'm sorry. 1.5% was what?
Said verbally last time by I think Heather. So 1.5 for wages is what she said you guys were looking at last round. But,
I don't, maybe that was taken out of context, because I
Okay.
know she had not yet made any sort of salary
okay,
proposal.
that was in my notes from last time, so.
Okay, that wasn't, it must have meant something else. I'm not sure
Okay.
but she wasn't making any sort of proposal of 1.5%.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I kept ours at 5, and then the sergeant's article is our last proposal from 2021 that we spent a lot of time talking about, and we liked it. So I included that as our proposal here. This is the last one with the rounds with Vicky that I gave, so.
This one?
Yes. Mhm. Which wasn't accepted, the status quo was kept, but this was our last proposal from those.
So at that time, you had proposed this, or was this their proposal?
No, we proposed this.
To reduce the amount of time to be eligible for sergeant's special duty assignment?
Right, yeah, because we were trying to reach an agreement,
Okay,
yeah, so,
okay. Where we were was, ours looked probably a little different
I
than
think
that,
you
right?
said 2 last time we met.
Yes, we were at 2.
These, I think, were our 9th proposals from last round, so. And I
So-
know you guys made like a little chart from last time, let's see.
So you were willing to change the date, or change the requirement, but then change back?
Yeah, we had a reversion clause for the next, so basically when the next full CBA takes effect, to go back to 5 years, because hopefully
We would have enough officers
manpower
in
would
the-
be better, yeah.
Understand, okay. Okay, I'd have to review this.
Okay, yeah.
We didn't like, what didn't we like about the proposal that we had on the table last time?
So last time you all proposed 2
Besides
years
2.
continuous service with the district and at least 1 year supervisory experience in law enforcement, or at least 5 years continuous law enforcement service as an officer. So we definitely, I think, didn't like that last part, just you can just have the general, and I don't know if we read that, I think there was a reading.
No, remember,
problem.
we had a discussion on
Yeah.
that, right? Where, and even I remember, I think I said it wrong in the start. So it was really the 3-year, or where were we at, 2 or 3 years of continuous law enforcement service with the district prior to the initial date of taking the exam, and basically meet one of the following: at least
Oh,
1
okay.
year of supervisory experience in law enforcement, including external service, or at least 5 years of continuous law enforcement service as an officer.
This is, we're talking about the sergeant's article. This is what they gave us last time.
To open siege, right? Is this one of theirs?
They only opened 20. So the opened articles are 17, 18, and 20.
And this,
Thank you.
thank you.
It's a little clearer than
Yes, yeah,
than
thank
it
you.
was in the Excel sheet.
And then the rest would be status quo.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the definition of successfully completed an approved line supervision course needs to be defined a little bit better, because we had an issue with that in the past.
Where is that?
Number 3.
Year 3. At a minimum, the applicant must have successfully completed an approved line supervision course. What's an approved line supervision course?
And then in our proposal, because there was
I
an
have no idea.
issue with that, we put complete the course within, we even said they can do it within 6 months after becoming a sergeant, and, but it must be taught by a FDLE certified trainer.
FDLE certified, yeah. Yeah, that sentence there means different to every other agency in the state of Florida. It means something different. It means the same to them, but it meant something different in this department. That's where an issue
Where,
came up.
what are we referring to?
The line supervision course.
Line supervision course, that's a
Okay.
course that FDLE holds.
And if you look at our proposal on the second page, which is page 12, on line number 3, that was our response, because courses were being called line supervision courses that weren't really, so
CG, what is it called, CJST approved?
CJSTC.
By who? By,
By Criminal Justice and Standards Division.
okay.
There's like an actual
That's the
standard.
real one.
Right, but with the courses that we've been using that you did not approve of are offered by who?
Well, it was who was giving them, and they weren't actually the FDLE certified trainer giving them. They weren't actual line supervision,
They were FDLE certified trainers, but the course wasn't
the actual
the actual course.
I
It
think,
wasn't-
I think I'll answer your question, is that it was an in-house class that was given,
Okay.
okay?
And then this is from, because you guys last round didn't like the 45 days, we were willing to lower it to 30. And then we did include the rule of 5 in our proposal for the selection process.
I thought we were down to rule of 3.
I think we talked about the rule of 5. Do you guys want to talk a little outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go caucus.
Okay. We did talk through some things, and, you know, I want to make it clear why, you know, the gas cards are in AB schedule are even an issue, and it wasn't ever meant to be something as punitive. No means are they trying to take something away, but they are trying to tighten some, you know, things up, and, you know, some of this just costs a lot more, right? And so one thing we discussed was a way for an officer who does have a take-home vehicle can request a WEX card by emailing Captain Scopolitis with a reason why you need a card and why the district pumps are too far or not good enough to use, right? We will add that to the general order. Again, we're not going to put it in the bargaining agreement, but we can add that to the general order. But along with that, there will be some language that really speaks to, trying an effort to reduce the amount of time that it takes to administratively process all of this. And, if you are using a WEX card and, a district pump was a mile down the road, that's not a good reason to do it. It does cost more. So, so there will be some language in there, really just touching on, if you're not turning in receipts or something like that, you might lose your WEX card.
Understood.
And I still want some criteria in there, though, because that's good to hear, that they can request it, but without, some kind of criteria.
How they decide it?
It doesn't really mean much, so. Oh, sorry.
I still heard you. I still heard you. Okay, we'll have to look at that. I think a mile is
No, and that was just my,
restarted, I know. But, we can
We're
look at that.
trying to meet you in the middle, which is why we didn't come in here too and say this whole calendar needs to go in the trash. Like, I just wanted to look at that 1 month, which we still feel that way because that's the response I got. And, we're not trying to be unreasonable with the gas cards either. So I'm not trying to come in here and, just, yes, so.
It's bargaining, I get it, So we're willing to write up some of that language and we'll get that to you.
Okay. Okay, and, okay, so 20.10 now. So we did want to stick with our qualifications 1 for experience, and that's, the 3 is what you have also, but for the 2 bullet points, we just, I just think that they don't really mean much because people hired here, assumedly have 1 year just general law enforcement experience. So that's why we agreed to lower the 3 before, and then, hopefully if the manpower issue gets resolved, that's why we put the reversion clause. And then as far as 2, we put 4 years prior. We're fine with leaving it at the 5, because I think that's where it is now, but we did want to define the discipline because any serious job-related incident, that's very vague. So that's why we wanted to define that. And then 3, I think I need to do a little bit more research because this was an issue in the past in 2016 when the exam was given with what was a line supervision course. So we wanted to make sure it was the actual approved course and trainer and everything. So I can parse that out a little bit.
CJST.
Right, CJSTC. And then for education, you wanted to you wanted to let them do it after the 2 years. We didn't agree with that. So, and then that's why we put in the CEU requirements or even, military service to open up the pool a little bit more instead of just requiring the associate's degree. And the rest, you said status quo. So for the examination, we're fine leaving it with 80 instead of 70. We propose the 70 to open up the pool more for you all. And that's your standard passing score. But if you want to leave that status quo, that's fine. And we took out the entire interview process because we thought that was an issue. But if you want to talk about restructuring the interview process, because right now, it's, again, it's just the chief picks who's on it. I don't even know if it has a total number of people on the panel. And then the rule of 5, we did want it in there with no person shall be passed over more than once. So.
Okay, well, what we can do is I'll bring this back to school police and we'll go through it and see if there's somewhere we could maybe blend some of these things together.
Okay.
See if we could agree on something like that.
Okay, and then the rest of my proposals were pretty much the same. I did take out the bereavement ask. We're not asking for that anymore, but everything else was pretty much the same. So I don't know if you have a wage proposal.
We do.
Okay.
So what we are proposing is, I don't know if you've noticed or heard on the news, but last night we did The board did approve a tentative agreement with CTA that on a 3.5% increase. Theirs is a little different. It's a blended increase. You get paid differently based on your evaluation rating. So, but for school police, what we're proposing is a 3.5% increase and a one-time bonus of $1,500.
Okay. And that would be retro, the 3.5?
To January 1st, 2022.
Okay.
That's the same one, that's the same thing as the teachers, right? The proposals?
Yes,
They got the bonus too. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that out there, or?
Again, I have to say, considering everything, I'm just going to reiterate everything I've been saying for years, and it's the honest to God truth. We're the lowest paid in the county. I believe, hired 9 people. We lost 5 already this month. June, honestly, you're probably going to be losing 10 to 12. Can't get people come in the door. Can't get people to stay here. Lowest paid in the county, $48,000 times 3% is about a $1,500 raise. So you're still under $50,000 a year. And with no step plan they use here, the term, Kevin, how much money am I going to make next year? Can't tell you, buddy. How about it after that? God knows. I honestly tell people not to stay here.
And it's the same problem with the gas, like inflation is horrible right now. And I think I brought
8.5.
this up last session, even in the coastal towns, which are some of our lowest paid agencies, like in Manalapan, they just gave them 5% just out of nowhere to help with inflation and to keep people, because, retention, is an issue everywhere, especially here. And then they get another 3% just with their regular CBA having the raises every year. So that's 8% to counteract the inflation and things like that. And you can't treat the police the same as the teachers. It's no one wants to be a police officer right now because of the climate and everything happening, and it's a really hard job. So it's not, they're not the same.
The penny sales tax is coming up, right? They're trying
Referendum?
They're trying to rewrite it for renewal.
Yes.
Are they writing it in? I know they wrote it the last time that the money would go for some part of it would go for security, to hire more officers, but it was purposely not written that it could not be used for salaries increases for officers, where the
I think
teachers
it was
were
used for positions.
for positions, but not for salary increase once you already had the position. But when they wrote it for the teachers, they wanted to be able to give them raises from it. Is it thought to rewrite it again now the same exact way, or is it to add the police to allow them to get raises out of that also?
I don't know. I could check on that.
That's a major thing too, because we tell you not to compare us to teachers, but yet you guys always do and give us exactly what the teachers. So if we're going to run that road, let's teachers again an extra $10,000 out of that penny sales tax money yearly.
So this offer was not intended to be a comparison saying that, just because teachers got that's what you're getting. Last settlement agreement was at 3.5%. So this is a better offer even than that.
Yeah, but even though you're saying that, for the past experience on that side, it's always been told that we can't give you more than what we give the teachers. We're going to give you exactly the same or less. That's what verbally was said, and that's...
And we know you're not, you weren't running the last sessions, but this is, the thoughts and feelings and...
But we've received so much feedback from even from the board members,
Yes.
telling us that we know you guys are underpaid, and we plan on doing something about it, and where is it?
So keep in mind, this is for dating back to January 1. One of the reasons why any salary increases, right now we know it's really expensive. Everybody's seeing additional costs. The increases that you might see, they're not they might not cover the increase in cost with rent and things like that going up. But you have to also keep in mind that we're funded through the state. I think this came up in our last bargaining session.
Right.
We do get a limited, we get what they give us. We can't always just go get more and allocate anything we want. So that's the difficulty in this, and you know, I understand that other organizations might be offering something higher, but you know, this wasn't meant to be this offer wasn't meant to be a way to compare, you know, any employees, but it was made to, you know, try to offer a pretty good salary adjustment.
Do you guys want to go talk for a minute? Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Turnover. Did you ever get anything like, did you ever get that info
Of turnover,
of how many officers we lost in the past, this school year alone?
it's 26.
And how much, this school year?
Yes.
26?
Which includes retirements.
I'm sorry, last school year. When's that?
It was 80 or 90.
I have 42.
I have the list.
Yeah, we have the public record.
It was 80 or 90.
It was a lot. It's 2 pages of
It was a lot. So I don't know if the teachers are bleeding like the police department,
and
but
you were going to look into the cost of, you know, retraining, training somebody that somebody lost, to give us an estimate idea what it's costing the district every time somebody leaves and they have to retrain somebody, hire somebody?
No, I don't really have a retention, you know, how much retention costs. I've looked into that stuff before, and you can, that can vary, you know, whoever's doing that analysis. But we do know that, you know, turnover costs money. We don't disagree with that.
I was going to bring it.
I have it somewhere. I
No,
can email it to you, Tim.
I was just going to bring up about the bonus. I was just doing quick numbers from the top of my head. For the base salary officers, that might look enticing, the $1,500. That's like roughly 3% would be $1,500. But that's a one-time thing. It's taxable at a higher rate. So maybe the school district would think about taking that bonus and then putting it towards a higher wage increase. That could be a thought process that we have a discussion about.
That was something, you know, that we've heard that. The money that it is coming from are one-time funds.
Yes.
And so I don't know if you read through the presentation I sent you, but, you know, there is a lot of risk and a lot of concerns with building in recurring expenses
right.
to one-time funds.
Oh,
So
yeah, I understand that.
that's the reason for that.
That's what prompted me to make that statement. But and I understand the school district trying to avoid recurring expenses, but obviously we're trying to negotiate and come to an agreement on a salary structure that would be appreciative towards our membership. Because I hate saying it, but this is like the Titanic. It's really, really bad. We're in dire straits here.
I can email you this, but I think, and this is just me counting, it was around 83 for all separations, so all types of separations from police.
Over what period of time?
From February of 20,
It's one school year.
through January of 2022.
And since we got the,
So that's 2 years, right?
Right, but this is 3 pages, and only half of the first page is 2020. So it's, the majority is 2021. And like they said, I think 5 people just left this week, right?
Yeah, five people since
And I mean, it's not a secret, you guys had to, you know, PBSO has to come in to cover, so.
And PBSO, I believe some of the members that just left are going to PBSO, so they still have time, which they do at the end. They find out people back out to supplement that, so I'm sure we'll probably lose others. Then they have a July class as well. And then additionally, we're going to have people,
Excel.
sorry. I apologize. Thank you, sir. What I said is that those individuals are going to PBSO, And what has happened in the past is at the last second, they opened seats, which just happened in the last class, and one of our people left here, and then the next day, she was in the class. And additionally, they're doing, tentatively scheduled a July class. And once again, in the end of June here, it might be shocking, but there's people who had not planned to retire that are going to retire. And I think that after this, today, not that you were ever negative, don't get me wrong with the word I'm going to say, you're very much a professional, and I enjoy dealing with you. But coming across from management to labor, it's not going to leave anybody with a feeling very proud to be a school police officer today, in my opinion.
Do you want to go talk? Okay, so we're coming back with the 5. Again, we talked about it. We've had a lot of discussions before today. We think it's fair. I just finished up North Palm. They're getting a step plan back. A lot of people are getting 7.5 there every year, and they know that they have to compete to hire and retain officers. So we don't think 5% is a crazy ask, especially with everything going on right now, and you have a leak in your officers. So we don't think that it's a crazy ask. So that's where we are. PBSO is, by the 3rd year of their contract, even North Palm, they'll be starting around 65 range. And they also get a COLA usually every year, and they have the, career deputy plan and everything like that, so.
I'm sorry, did you say 65?
Yeah, at the
Is
3rd
that
year.
for how many duty days, though? Is that?
Even at the duty days, even if you take the duty days into account, this is the lowest paid place. So we don't think 5% is crazy. You guys, we're not asking for a step plan. A lot of people do want longevity here even. I know that you guys would just, not be open to that based on everything you're saying.
Well,
So,
and the step plan did come up last session, right? Mark spoke to that. And, our funding is decided by the state. So, having a guaranteed step plan every year, the struggle with that is if the state funding drops, and if enrollment drops, we have less funds.
right, which is
So-
why we didn't come in with that. Again, we just came in with the 5.
And I know, Mr. Kubrick, doing this is that in the past, when that was presented to us under Vicky, I handed over the step plan from the Miami-Dade School Police Department. And I say that with all due respect is, if they're able to do it, I wonder maybe there's some information that they can advise this school district of to be able to implement such, and that would be a very desirable thing in maybe recruiting and retaining people.
Because they
here.
are the only other place with the school police, I think, in Florida. So,
Okay. I think we'll have to come back with something else, so I'll bring, it back to the team, and we'll
okay,
schedule a next session then.
okay, I'll get you some dates.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.